On October the 31st, 1517, Martin Luther posted 95 big questions which he believed faced the church of his day to a local church door in Wittenberg, Germany. 500 years later, I decided to post 95 new questions, one a week, to the web, questions which I believe the church must face in the 21st century. It seems strange to say it, but some people talk about what we call ethics as if the word only applies when we're thinking about huge issues like international justice, politics, the economy, business, climate change and healthcare, or about those moments of personal crisis and huge life-changing decisions for ourselves. In fact, our ethics are primarily about something else altogether. Something far more mundane. They're actually about the whole process of becoming the sort of people we want to be. They're about everyday life, our passions and perceptions, our slow cultivation of good habits and moral skills. In short, therefore, every moment is an opportunity of moral formation and spiritual development as slowly but surely we grow into the people that our chosen way of life shapes the raw material that is us into. So our ethics, another way of talking about our character, then display themselves through our words, our actions and attitudes, especially when we're not paying attention. We wear them on our faces, they're audible in our tone, they can't be hidden, they catch us off guard. They are the real us, they leak out of us. However hard we work, there's no hiding them. The problem is that the way that many of us think about ethics neglects the only time we can use to make a real difference to who we are. Why is that? Because in the big crisis we face, it's only the habits that we've already formed day by day over the years that can really help us. In fact, when you stop to think about it, many of the impossibly huge moral dilemmas some of us find ourselves in wouldn't even arise if we had a different ethical foundation in the first place. And that's the point. Ethics are like any other good skill. They are formed slowly. Every world-class sprinter, whatever their reputation, knows that a big race is won or lost at the training ground long before it's won or lost at the Olympic Stadium. To that end, they're trained for years for a race that will only last a handful of seconds. They take nothing for granted. They know that all athletic success is the result of the slow business of building good skills and habits through disciplined training, persistent practice, and huge amounts of sacrifice. They understand more than anyone else that no amount of enthusiasm on the big day or showboating on the start line can ever make up for the deficiencies in their training and preparation. But it's more than just practice. More than just simply doing a lot of running. What's required is a mindset of never being satisfied with your current ability, a passion to aim just beyond your capacity, and most importantly, to never ever give up, a resolve to dust yourself down, dust yourself off in the face of defeat and try again. And to achieve that, you need a story that's strong enough, big enough and honest enough to keep motivating you, to believe in yourself, to make you go again, to push yourself one last time, to make another shot. Like I said last week, the experts tell us that there are 3 ways of doing ethics. Living by the rules, which they call deontological ethics, but which, as we saw last week, never really work. But then secondly, there's a kind of the end justifies the means, a do what seems best to you approach, one branch of which is known as situation ethics, but which seem to me to be fatally flawed because they leave us with no guidance system beyond our own subjective judgment. And lastly, there's a third approach, which is what's called virtue ethics, virtues that lead our lives. And that's what I want to talk about over the next couple of weeks. Virtue ethics is an approach to life and decision making built around living in a story. Virtue ethics says that in the end, for us all, the way we behave is determined by the story we find ourselves in, the narrative that shapes our lives. In other words, a person slowly becomes what they believe. Virtue ethics says that without a compelling and overarching story, a sense of who we are and where we fit, we're lost. It's only in the light of being clear about our story that we can really begin to think consistently. Even in the little decisions, it's only our big story with its sense of ultimate purpose which is capable of steering us reliably. Only it is powerful enough to supply us with the focus we need. So what about me? Well, for me, becoming a follower of Jesus in my teenage years is what's given my life its context and direction. It's meant that I've come to understand life in a particular way. And that is what's brought shape, meaning and hope to my journey thus far. So following Jesus has given my small and very, very flawed story, my personal micro story, a bigger, global, even a cosmic context, as I've been called up into what I believe is God's big story. And so to finish, a question. What's the big story that's shaping your micro story, your ethical framework? Because if I'm right, without a compelling, overarching story, a sense of who we are and where we fit, we are lost. I hope you're enjoying Chalke Talk and the opportunity to think through and discuss some of the questions it raises week by week. And with exactly that in mind, I'd like to invite you to one of a series of events I'm doing around the country called In the Name of Love: The Bible, Gender Identity and Same-Sex Relationships. I'll be joined by some notable guests for this series of one-day conferences asking questions about what the Bible has to say about gender identity and same-sex relationships and what it means for us in everyday life. So often in the church, we struggle to explore and to agree or disagree well when it comes to social issues. In the Name of Love will be different. Just like Chalke Talk, rather than being dogmatic, it will leave plenty of space for discussion and questions. So, no matter where you are on your journey with this issue, you are most welcome. I mean it. We'll be in Birmingham, Manchester, Sheffield and Southampton in the months to come. More details, including sponsorship to attend, can be found in the description on my Facebook page or at openchurch.network/events. Once again, that's openchurch.network/events.